You've heard that term before, but basically it's what the Romans did back in the time of Yeshua. They found out because they were dealing with so much internal unrest. They figured if they could get people entertained and give them some food, that they'll be able to get away with a lot more things. So the lesson was let's give them entertainment. Let's give them bread and we'll get away with murder. We can rob them. We can charge them all types of taxes. We can live uber rich, and they won't drag us out into the streets and beat us to death. Because that's what used to happen. People would just rise up and say, "I'm not taking this no more," and they would drag the leaders and kill them. And so a lot of kingdoms, had regime change based upon the people just weren't having it no more. So whenever any of these kingdoms on this earth that's not the kingdom of heaven, this is what they fear. They fear that the people will rise up and will come in and just beat them, discover what they've been doing, and will take them out. So that's what they're afraid of. So knowing that, you'll understand why the government does what they do. Like for instance, they make a lot of money on our taxes and they do stuff that people don't want. Like most people don't want billions of dollars of our tax money going to foreign countries. But they, try to explain it away or try to give us little things to make us, to let it go, for instance. So these things happen on a regular basis. They say, oh, we'll give you this, we'll give you, student loan deferment, we'll slide you 1,600, but you didn't give billions to other people or these PP loans to the Catholic Church and things of that nature. So entertainment basically means something to arrest your attention, something to grab your attention. And so we know one of the oldest tricks in the book is to get people looking one way while they do something over somewhere else. And so the danger of the circuses is that certain things are going to hit the news that are going to be a spectacle that's going to grab your attention, that's going to rest your attention. You're going to want to focus on that, be like, wow, what is this happening? I never seen this before, or wow, this is devastating. It grabs your attention and you can't look away. And meanwhile, they're doing something else over somewhere else that you're not where you weren't looking. So they've been doing that for decades and decades and decades, for centuries in different governments. It's the same play. So when they present you a certain story, right, for them is P Diddy, P Diddy, P Diddy all over all over the airwaves, in the social media. It's the hot topic right now. And that's, God is doing something in that too. I'm gonna break that down, but you also have to understand you gotta don't let that take your full attention. Just understand that's what they're presenting because they're trying to appease the people because people are upset about justice not happening. So he's a sacrificial lamb that's going out to appease the people, to say, look, we're doing our job. We got justice going on and things of that nature. So they want to pump it up like, hey, we're helping you. We're justice, but people don't understand why that is. Why are they doing that? God is doing something in it, but understand from the natural perspective, the FBI, Homeland Security, their budgets are are coming up for voting. meaning the Congress and all that are voting on whether to uh, reduce their budgets or increase their budgets or keep it the same. And so now they're rolling out the red carpet, they're arresting people, they're getting people, they're acting like what they should have been acting like for years, but they're doing it because now their budgets are up for election. People are voting. New people are coming into Congress in November. And so they got to act like they're doing their job. And you people know, we know people like that. If you've been in the working world, you know people who aren't really working, but when the boss show up, then they acting like they the hardest worker in the world. And so that's what it is. God addressed that in the Bible. The the man, the three people, one had one talent, one had seven talents, and one had like maybe three or four. But the three or four talent guy or the seven talent guy, they all multiplied, double their talents. The person with the one talent hid their talent, and they did this while the master was away. The master came back and saw that the person with one talent didn't do their job, and then took the talent away and gave it to the person who had seven talents already. And that's how the world works. That's God is telling us how the world really works because he set it up that way. He's giving you something. He's giving you talents. Don't waste them. And so we have to be very careful with the circuses. We have to be very careful that we don't let it take up our time to the point where we don't get done what we need to get done. We still got to watch because the Lord said, watch and pray. Because by watching what's going on, you figure out what's really happening and what season we're in. So you got to keep your eyes open. But at the same time, you have to communicate with the Lord and tell me, what is this? What's going on here? What should I be doing? And we cover that with the Monday Bible study as far in Ecclesiastes 9:11 about time and chance. Amen. But with bread and circuses, the banner scripture, again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And so this scripture is up here as the banner scripture because it lets you know that Satan runs these kingdoms. So we're in the belly of the beast. People just don't realize it because Satan is running America. Satan is running the Chinese Communist government. Satan is running all these other world governments, the UN. And so don't trust them. Don't put your faith in them. Put your faith in Yahweh. That's it. That's the kingdom of heaven is the only kingdom that can't be trusted. And people they don't grasp this. You know, they move like puppets, like dummies, and they put too much faith in a government that's Bible tells you straight up and down is run by Satan. It's like I don't get it. Like, why would you trust a government that used to hand out blankets with smallpox on it and hand it out to people? Why would you trust a government that did that? Why would you trust a government that used to take black folks and then do experiments on them when they had the cure the whole time? So my people perish for lack of knowledge. People got to be careful. You got to be careful. The media is ran by the synagogue of Satan. The government is ran by the synagogue of Satan because Satan runs it. So of course his church is going to be involved. People, when they read synagogue of Satan, they don't understand that this is the church of Satan. He has churches too. It's on TV. It's on social media. It's on the airwaves. It's in the music. And so you got to be careful what you're eating, what you're listening to, what you're physically eating, what you're watching, because it's saturating the airways right now. So I want to give you a message to what the Lord gave me, because the Lord gave me some insight that I ain't heard nowhere else, but y'all getting it tonight. Y'all gonna get the straight off the press. And so there's an obscure book that most Christians do not know about, let alone the public. There's a book called the Book of the Giants that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you don't, like I said, that's for the YouTube audience and things of that nature. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the people are lying and say, this place, it was found in Qumran, and it was the Essenes is some sect of Jews that had no connection, some off the wall extremists, Jews that live in a desert or something. But basically, the Dead Sea Scrolls are connected to the John the Baptist and his group, because they found these scrolls in the desert away from Jerusalem, because John the Baptist lived in the wilderness, which is the desert, and he ate locusts and honey and had, like, camel hair or something as a vest like Elijah did. And so the land was so wicked, the King Herod was so wicked that he had to separate himself from the people. And so they went to go live in the desert. But yeah, I mean, Tia, you had your hand up real fast.
Waiting room.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm gonna try to accommodate you, but yeah, in the future.
I was trying, you was going. I was trying
Oh
not to
no, no,
stop
no,
you.
that's fine. No, yeah, get them in now, because we just getting started. Oh, where
Do
they
you
at?
see her? Do you see her?
No, no.
Mm,
Tell her is she right there? Are you able to communicate? Because normally, yeah, we don't want to keep stopping, because now it's
I
as
got
it
you.
grows. But
Sometimes it steady kicks you off. I got you. I contact her.
okay, just let me know. I'll still try to get them in, but yeah. So understanding that is that it's getting to a point where the truth is coming out about everything. The lies that were sold is not holding up anymore. And so, yeah, they don't tell the truth. They're not letting people know that that John the Baptist is connected to the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so this book of the Giants is a rare book. They don't have the full book. They found the little scrolls, but they found the scrolls in fragments. I mean, these are 2,000-year-old manuscripts. So they had to, like, piece together what they could find and try to decode what it was saying. And I think it was written in Aramaic. But with the point of me bringing up this book of giants, obviously you guys should read what they have. They do have PDF online, but the reason I'm bringing up the book of the giants, the Lord, because I read all this stuff already. The Lord told me that the strategy that's being used today that he's using is was done before in the book of the giants. And so I'm gonna tell you what that strategy is, because that's what's happening today. So the Bible tells you that the last days which we're in are going to be like the days of Noah. So when you study the days of Noah, you find out it's the same playbook today. And so one of the strategies God implemented was that the giants who took over the land, and the angels went into the daughters of men, and these giants were the offspring. And the giants took over. They were stronger than mankind. Mankind became slaves to the giants and were producing all this food for them. And the giants had such huge appetites, they couldn't produce enough food. So then they started eating the human beings. They started eating the men. And the blood cried out, and even the angels was like, God, you're gonna do something, like this is getting really bad down there. And God decided, he said, I'm gonna do something. And then one of the things he did was he caused a civil war with the giants. And this was part of God's justice. The reason he did this is because he decreed in Genesis, in the garden, that man will have dominion over the earth. And so the watchers, these angels who made this incursion, who disrupted his commands, went against that command. They were only supposed to watch. They weren't supposed to be interjecting themselves. The angels wanted to be like God, and they wanted to have a hand in creation. And so the giants murdered a lot of men, ate a lot of men, and a lot of fathers wept. A lot of people were crying out to God during that time. Book of Enoch talks about that the wail from the people on earth was so bad it reached heaven. People were screaming for help, for God to save them, because the giants were so vicious. And so the Lord basically set up a civil war where the giants were slaying each other, so the angels would know what it's like to lose your children, just like the fathers of that day lost their children to murder and war and cannibalism. And so, how did he do it? He basically set it up to where one of the giants who thought that another giant slept with his wife, and that led to the civil war of the giants. Because the giants, each giant had to pick a side, and then then they started slaying each other to the point where they weren't that many as it used to be. And then the flood came. And so, I thank God for bringing that to my remembrance and basically saying this is the same playbook. So what you're seeing now today are um, evil people fighting other evil people. That's what you're going to start to see, and it's already happened. So people think the people in the Illuminati and Satanists and all that jazz that they all get along. They don't. They're greedy, they're selfish, they fight each other for power. And so the Lord was saying, we're going to see the same playbook. And I can say this openly because there's nothing Satan can do about it. He can't bring peace because he has no peace to bring. Only the Prince of Peace can bring peace to the situation. So he doesn't even have the tools to stop this. And so the war is happening regardless. And so on the bigger picture, bigger than that strategy is understanding that he's doing this. He's opening these seals. These seals are being opened because ultimately the purpose is to separate the wheat from the tares. So if you've been faking it this whole time, not really living a life of Christ, and you ain't been real with it, all this is going to draw you more to who you really are inside. And so if you really really love God and you really on his side and you really believe in following his commandments and not just giving lip service, then what all this stuff, all the seals opening is gonna make you shine brighter in Christ. All you gonna do is step up to the plate and really serve him even harder. And so basically that's this great falling away is that people that they wasn't really weak in the first place. So when trouble comes, when pressure comes, they fold like a cheap beach chair. And so if you're a real person in Christ, you can handle the pressure. You're gonna come out like a diamond. They say pressure busts pipes and it also makes diamonds. And so if you're the cream of the crop, if you're really the wheat, none of this is gonna phase you. None of this can sway you from loving God. None of this can sway you from serving him. Nothing can sway you from saying, for him shall I live, for him shall I die. And so this is the real. This is where the rubber hits the road. And so this is separation, but this is also justice. He's handing out justice. So that's I just passing on what the Lord gave me. So don't when you see all this turmoil, people fighting each other in the streets and migrants eating cats and uh civil war people pulling out guns and robbing. This is all to show who's who. Because the temptation is to like, well, shoot, let me go rob then. That's the temptation. But then you show yourself not a true person of God. Because the word says in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal. So it's going to show who's who. Because in a land of lawlessness, the only thing holding people back from being lawless is the simple fact is the police. If the police weren't there, they would have been did some evil stuff. But what happens when the police is not there? Then people's true character is going to show. So this is a civil war that's coming. That I mean, it's already happening, but with the whole P. Diddy thing, people are going to turn on evil people are going to turn on other evil people just to say they hide. So we're going to see that. I'm going to get more into that, but I want to give you the overarching because that's when you understand something from a high level, when we drill down into detail, it's going to be easy and simple for you. So
ancient civilization.
I just want this is a video just to prove, the whole Giants thing. I mean, we got so much proof. It's at this point, there's no refuting it. Like even the science have to come around and say there was a worldwide flood because there's too much evidence. They done found marine fossils on the top of the pyramids. Like you can't, they having a hard time to try to cover that up at this point. But I wanted to show you that they found pyramids off the coast of New Orleans. And the reason I wanted to show you this is not only because it's a receipt, but also you got to understand that they built pyramids on ley lines. If you know what ley lines, Ley, ley lines are areas of energy around the globe, around the earth, you know. So there's energy in different places of earth. So the ancient people knew that, so they built cemeteries in certain places. They built civilizations in certain places because they knew where the energy was. And so there's some demonic energy where the pyramids are. And so New Orleans is not a regular place. They do a lot of witchcraft down there, a lot of prostitution there, a lot of voodoo there. And so this is not by accident that there's some ley lines there. That's where the giants were. Here we go.
off the coast of St. Bernard Parish.
He claims there are large mounds underwater that may have once been the site of a lost city thousands of years ago.
Paul Murphy reports local fishermen have long talked about strange and unexplained things happening in that area.
The Chandeleur Islands are a chain of uninhabited barrier islands located in the Gulf of Mexico, 50 miles east of New Orleans. But 12,000 years ago, before a dramatic sea level rise at the end of the last ice age, this area may have been dry land.
3 different search areas.
Retired architect and amateur archaeologist George Gillet believes the site, now underwater, was once home to an ancient civilization. He dubbed the city Crescentis.
What's down there is hundreds of buildings that are covered with sand and silt and that are geographically related to the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Giza is a city in northern Egypt where ancient pyramids and the Sphinx are located. Gillet claims to have found mysterious mounds of granite under Chandeleur Sound. Granite is not native to Louisiana or Mississippi.
Somebody floated a billion stones down the Mississippi River and then assembled them outside of what would later become New Orleans.
Y'all hear?
So notice they they try, well, they are trying to explain it away and say, oh, it's an ice age, the ice melted. You know, I guess that's their best way to cover it up or try to explain, you know, because nobody's gonna build pyramids underwater just off the blue. That doesn't make any sense. So they knew it was dry land when they built those pyramids there. But now they're trying to say, oh, the ice melted. That's why it got flooded out. So anything to instead of saying, you know, God flooded the whole world. So they want to say anything else because then that ruins everything else that they're trying to say. But yeah, just want to show you that because that's brand new. I didn't know that there were pyramids by New Orleans. But like he said, like the man said, there's no granite in that area. So somebody had to physically move granite from another place and move it to that area. And that's hard to do. And obviously, you know, a giant with stronger than a regular man can move those type of ton bricks, those granite blocks. So but they don't have nowhere else to explain it. But yeah, but now we're gonna drill down into the diddler. You know, he's become a meme in so many ways. And so I'm going to show you kind of what God had given me concerning, because last week I told you that God told me that he's just a domino in a domino rally, meaning he's a big domino. When he falls, it's going to lead to all these other people falling. And people are going to turn on each other. So it's part of this evil people fighting other evil people that God set up so that justice can be served. Because this is a big rabbit hole. Like, it's not what people think it is. Like, it goes way, way deep. Way, way deep. And I'm gonna touch a little bit on that tonight. And then that's it. I'm just, y'all not gonna get, you know, just a little bit on tonight. So let's look. People don't know the origin of where this dude came from. They think they know his story, but they don't. When you know, part of the reason I love history, because if I can learn the history, I can understand what's happened, why it's happening today, and also I can understand the future better. And so there's a curious case that happened in 1988. And people haven't connected the dots yet, but they will. Obviously, y'all gonna get the buffet on tonight. But understand this is that something happened in New York, in the Bronx in 1988. There's an ex-school employee charged in a sex case. And so, you know, what does that have to do with the diddler? We're gonna get into it. So people don't know this, but his mom sent him to a Catholic school. And in the Catholic school, he was an altar boy. And the priest and the principal were molesting the children there, including the altar boys. See, we know about that now with the Catholic Church, but as I taught the Catholic Church, the Vatican is shaped as a snakehead. It's an evil organization at the top and in the middle, because the priests have been diddling, so the priest had diddled the diddler. So that's the origin. He was molested in school. And so outspoken gay Catholic priest Bernard Lynch accused of late 70s sexual abuse of teen student at Bronx school. And so the time he was a student and an altar boy there at that Catholic school in the Bronx was the same time the scandal was happening. And they were molesting for years, and they finally got outed in 1988, and they resigned. I think one was charged and went to prison. The other one escaped because the priest had escaped, because the priest, the people who got molested, they were so traumatized that they couldn't even bear themselves to go to the trial and testify against him. But this priest went on to declare himself as officially gay and married a man and everything, and still said he's a priest. So he became one of the first openly gay priests, and he was excommunicated from the church. And so this is the origin of why the diddler became who he was. He was molested as an altar boy in a Catholic school as a child. So this is where he became a monster. There's more factors in this, because his father was a cab driver and started selling drugs. And he got caught up, was about to snitch to save himself, and then was murdered by the gang for going to the police to rat, because they had the police paid off. And so they got word from the police that the person was trying to snitch. And his mother, a lot of people don't know this, was a madam, meaning she was the one who was basically the pimp over the prostitutes. A female pimp, they'll call her a madam. And so that's where these freak offs, all this mixture, this gumbo of bad things, of perversion and everything, that's the origin of these things. And so as a result, and then he went to Howard University, they had a boule there. So he was throwing parties at Howard. He was molested, so he had these tendencies because he got turned out in school by a gay Catholic priest. And so as a result, all these different things started happening. And so the Lord is bringing this to y'all attention because he wants y'all to know, like, where these things come from. So number one, if you have kids, you can be mindful of these things, to watch over them, to pray over them. Don't send them to certain places. In addition to that, for you to be wise, for you to have the knowledge so you don't perish. because what happened to all these different people, it's not just about Bieber and Usher that these things happen to. Those are the people that make the headlines, who got molested and all these different things. But there's people that I know personally who got molested at these Catholic schools as children. They don't want to talk about it. They want to they just don't even want it in their memory banks. And so the head of the snake. And it's caused a lot of damage because parents trusted these institutions. But the Lord has always said, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. You need to get this knowledge. You need to get this information, because you should not be sending your children to Catholic institutions, straight up and down. Don't give them that trust. When these people got caught, if the government didn't pursue them, they just moved them to different locations, to other Catholic churches. They didn't fire these individuals in these scandals. So in this case, this gay Catholic priest was excommunicated because, look, he kept talking. But if he kept his mouth shut, who knows how long he would have been in there. So be wary. Like I said, the Illuminati, I've taught this, but Illuminati started in the Catholic Church. So when you find those connections, then that's, who's hooked up with who. So there's a video on it. I'm gonna show this video. It, gives you, a good breakdown. Here we go.
Meet Sean. See, Sean's problems started early on. His dad was an associate for Frank Lucas. The film American Gangster with Denzel Washington is about him. Sean's dad gets caught up in a deal that went wrong, so Sean was only 2. Sean's mum and grandma raised him, but this is where it gets interesting. Sean went to Catholic Mount St. Michael Academy in the Bronx. Sean was also an altar boy, so to help out in the ceremony, whatever was needed. In the 80s, there was unspeakable things going on at Mount St. Academy. The FBI were even watching the school, mainly watching the principal, who was called Brother Brady, and the chaplain named Reverend Lynch, who was there for 12 years, so the whole time Sean was there. Sean left in 1987, but both of them were charged in 1988. Principal was sentenced, but the Reverend, who was the chaplain, wasn't sentenced. Only one person came forward, and his name was John Schofer. He's in the film Garfield. He couldn't handle the court trial, so he left, and there was no further evidence about the Reverend. In the 90s, the principal got a similar job in Chicago, and the Reverend wrote a book and became the first Catholic priest to have a civil partnership, marrying in 1998 and legally marrying in 2017.
So that about sums it up right there. So you got the origin. So now you know how this monster came to be. And it's bad. Like certain stuff I can't even show y'all, but the dude, like the diddler, I just call him the diddler. The diddler, basically, he's on video bragging about how he goes to the strip club with his own mama together, bragging about how she can touch her toes, touch the floors with her palms, like foul stuff. Things you should never be saying about your mama. How she can bend over. How do you go to the strip club with your mama? That's perversion on another level. And people are saying now that it just wasn't just 1,000 bottles of baby oil. that there's those were drugs in that baby oil. That there was some type of drug in there with the baby oil. So this it's on like the rabbit hole is we haven't even touched deep into the rabbit hole yet. I'm just giving y'all the origin so y'all understand what I know. Because when I talk about the other stuff, it's all gonna make sense. But just the origin story of the villain is bad. The diddler. So hurt people hurt people. That's always the general rule. It takes your relationship with God for you to heal so you don't do the same thing that was done to you that was bad. So, so I told you about the Civil War, evil people going against evil people. So God set this up. So you wondering, why is it now that he's getting prosecuted, that he's facing trial and bond denied and all these things? Why is it happening now? It's obvious. But God told me specifically, yeah, that's the people have done their research and their homework, and they all pointed to this one incident to where it started. And God is telling me, yeah, it's true, but the overarching thing is that he set this up so these dominoes will fall. So Diddy and the largest liquor distributor in the world, Diageo, they fell out. And Diageo is huge. Diageo does the Bacardi rum, the Johnny Walker, the Don Julio, the Casamigos, like all that tequila, and like they run the liquor industry. They make like over $90 billion in revenue a year. And so what the Lord did was have them go against each other to lead to all of this, because they were cheating them. But it's big bank take little bank. There's not you just gonna have to just settle. I mean, he still was making at one point $60 million a year off of it, but he know that they wasn't paying him all they were supposed to pay him. And so he got mad and sued them. But you going against a mafia type of company, like the Rothschilds are connected with Diageo. And if you don't know about the Rothschilds, you need to do your research. They have people murdered. They'll have whole planes crash to make money. They got so much money, they're not on the Forbes list because they don't want to be on the Forbes list. They marry each other so they can keep the money in the family. That's the origin of the Rothschilds. And now it's even coming out that Bill Cosby's wife has Rothschild connections, that she is part Rothschild. And so a lot of stuff is coming out now. And so, these people got handlers. So you got to understand that God set this up. Diddy and Diageo, they fall out, even though the man was making 60 million. But what happens, the pride gets to you just like Pharaoh with Moses, and nothing's never enough. And you start feeling yourself and think you're untouchable. And then you think you're going to take on a company that like the mafia that makes $90 billion in revenue a year. And you think you're going to win against them in court. And so he tried it. He did. And so Diageo, they understand the issue. They just settled out of court, but they made sure to get him back. And so, then they do private investigators, find out your weaknesses and will systematically tear you down, have meetings on how to tear you down. And it worked, obviously. Because now you don't have the $90 billion company protecting you no more. And so as a result, you're hung out to dry. And so that's basically what happened to the diddler. He accused him of racism, which was probably true, but at the same time, no, you just made a $90 billion revenue company mad, who has all these connections to Rothschild and everything else. And so they weren't going to just let you get away with that. So he got the money in the settlement, but then he had to pay all these people in these lawsuits. He had to pay Cassie, and they made sure that he got embarrassed. They got him back. And so that's what happened. That's what the Lord told me. He pissed them off, but God set it up that way because it's part of a bigger plan of other people getting exposed. Because the Lord has, it's been prophesied, not just me, but that these freak off tapes are going to be leaked into the public. God told me that specifically, but other prophets have been saying that as well. So these tapes are going to come out. They're going to be leaked. And there's a lot of people that went to them parties. And so TD Jakes, that tape that he's in is going to come out. He's going to die in scandal. That's what's prophesied. And these other people, TD Jakes, everybody in the church, we know who that is. So, but these celebrities are going to be taken down as well. There's other rich people that's going to be taken down because these tapes are going to come out. They're going to be leaked online. People are going to see it and make mockery of it, and these people are going to be canceled. And so just the dominoes are falling just as God has said. So as soon as the man was arrested, the CEO of Nike stepped down, the CEO of Warner Music stepped down, the CEO of 300 Entertainment stepped down because they went to them freak offs. So this is God's way of cleaning house. He set up this domino to fall to clean house. These people are getting booted out. If they already know the deal. If they try to stay and try to hold their position, they're likely to get thrown into the dragnet of facing trial anyway. But in general, just to give, it's not just God is doing something bigger than that, obviously. It's not just those people who went to the freak offs, but also you got to understand that something is coming soon. Something is coming soon. So in general, 600 CEOs have left this year. 600. This happened right before the pandemic as well, where a whole bunch of CEOs were leaving because some of them get the heads up that something's about to happen. It would be best that you leave so you don't have to be in charge when the stuff goes down. So a lot of them have got that memo and they're leaving because something bad is about to happen. So I'm letting y'all know, just so y'all are aware, so you don't think this is a game, so you don't think this is far away, that you really lean on God to guide you and that you get your house in order. Because whenever a whole bunch of CEOs leave, CEOs are in the loop. CEOs are get a heads up. CEOs are in those small back rooms and those circles where information is exchanged. So they know something is coming. That's why they're leaving. Amen. So And just back to the diddler, because truth is starting to come out, big stuff. Um, there's a curious case back in 2018. You can look this up yourself, actually. There's a man in 2018 who went to Trump's hotel in Miami and started shooting at the police and was doing stuff, and then they interrogated the man. This is back in 2018. And one of the things, he was kind of a little bit off his rocker. Certain thing, I listened to the whole interrogation. You're welcome to kind of pull that up. But certain stuff I could tell, okay, you got that off the internet. But as far as like information, but other stuff, there's no way he would have known. And one of the things he was saying is he was, because he was being interviewed by the Secret Service because he was at Trump Hotel. One of the things he was saying is that he was paid as a this guy's a former stripper, former porn star, and that he was having threesomes with Cassie and P. Diddy, and that P. Diddy was watching, do that type of stuff. And that's all was said in the Cassie case. But he said this back in 2018. And he was saying Rick Ross was gay, DJ Khaled was gay, and they was all participating in these freak offs. And so it basically confirms what we've been told, that a lot of these entertainers that people idolize and look up to are gay, and that men who think they are, men's men, hardcore, and they play this music in their car, not understand they listen to gay men, that they're pumping up gay men. And so it's starting to come out, 50 Cent gay, Busta Rhymes gay, and people know Usher gay already, Bieber gay, because they all been molested. So all these, these gay entertainers that people look up to, and they keep playing that music in their car. And so you gotta understand, don't idolize these individuals, because with the stuff that they doing to get there is bad. It's not something you want to do. You want to preserve your body. You don't want none of that what they doing. And so the chief molester, the diddler, we know what he did with Clive Davis to even fund Bad Boy. He had to please that man to do it. So these are the things that went on. He also said in 2018, it's still, the interviews on YouTube, you want to look up. A guy's named Jonathan Aldi, but the problem is now he's missing. It just came out recently that they can't find the man, but he was locked up for years, and now he's missing. That the people, he was supposed to be in trial, and that nobody knows where he is. He might have been erased for what he said, because now people are starting to look at this video, his interrogation, his interview by Secret Service, and people are starting to wonder what's going on, because he said that they were trying to kill Trump back in 2018, that they were coming for him. So 3 assassination attempts later, here we are. So just passing information along. So yeah, his fight with Diageo, gotta set that up, because this is what he's doing. He's having evil people fight evil people. It's a civil war of evil people. So God is showing you this because he doesn't want you to get involved. Don't even pick a side. They're both evil. Don't bother picking a side. They're both evil. Allow this to just run its course. Stay out of it. I'm not a part of that kingdom. We're not a part of that kingdom. We a part of the kingdom of heaven. So there's no side for us to jump on. We on Yeshua's side. We on Jesus' side. That's the side we on. So there's no reason to pick a side with these people. They both evil. So and it's coming out. Like Ellen DeGeneres was in the flight logs with Epstein. And, you know, she's wishing him a happy birthday recently to P. Diddy, the diddler. Talking about you don't need to know why. I call him Cuddle McSnuggle Stuff. She was at the parties. And so the Lord is tearing down Hollywood. Because one of the things that he's doing now that it's been prophesied is that all the idols that people have, he's going to tear them down. You idolizing anybody in Hollywood, he's going to tear them down. You idolize anybody in the music industry, he's going to tear them down. You idolizing any politician, he's going to tear them down. And basically, he's exposing them. So you won't even want to look up to him. Your God is money, he's going to tear that down too. Stock market crash, that dollar ain't even going to be worth barely anything. So this has been prophesied in multiple places. So you got to understand that basically, if anybody got any type of idol, the idols is going to teeter-totter and fall. There won't be anybody to look up to except to God. That's it. Everybody going to look bad and fail you. So there's no need. The idols, nobody's even going to want the idols when God is done with them. Because he's exposing it all. And so the prophecy of, you know, all these other dominoes falling, it's already happening. I prophesied that last Friday, and then this week, guess who gets indicted? This is the guy who's doing the heart with the diddler, who gave the diddler the key to the city. This is the mayor of New York. He went to the Diddy parties. Not only did he go to the Diddy parties, NYPD was doing security for the parties in New York. And so NYPD saw all this debauchery happening, all these freak-offs happening, and looked the other way. And one of the reasons he was, oh, go ahead, Prophet Taylor, go ahead.
You also see where you know how you showed DJ Khaled brother where he was talking about he slept with Diddy, and he also talked about sleeping with Casey and the things of what Diddy would have them doing because he was a sex slave, right? I wanted to share that with you because I did see that, and that was, man, boy, this boy, that man is they crazy though. They've been paid. They didn't. I don't know how he got by that. Then came this far. So I just wanted to say that, like, yeah, that man is really sick. And Diddy was masturbating to the whole situation of his wife and his dude, and all kind of stuff. Yeah, it's sick, really sick.
Right. That was in the documents and all that. So yeah, it's coming out, and God is allowing it to come out because he's about to get some more people. So all the wicked people who thought they was going to get away scot-free, have wonderful careers, and be able to put this in the closet, God is putting a big old light and saying, look, there, this is the, he's turning on the lights and exposing these people. And so this ministry, we expose people because God wants us to expose them. But on a grand scale, this is God doing this. He's tired of these people doing this. He's tired. All the grace and mercy he's given. It's not like he hasn't sent people to Diddy to tell. There's people on YouTube today, and God told them this message is for Diddy. You need to stop what you're doing. You need to turn your life over to Christ. You need to, they're saying that. And this is years ago. God made them go online and prophesy and warn Diddy that you need to stop doing what you're doing. Same thing for TD Jakes. They got warnings. They were told in advance that you need to stop before something bad happens to you. But they didn't listen. Like I said earlier, I've said this before, like, because I lived in LA, so I know certain things. Tupac went to church. He went to Faithful Central one time. That was back when the Forum was a whole church instead of a concert. A church bought it out, had all them people going. I think the pastor's name, Kenneth Omer, if I'm not mistaken. And he went to church and they ministered to him, prophesied to him, and asked him to give his life to Christ. And he turned it down. The next thing you know, he's gunned down in Vegas. And so people gotta understand, like, God is not playing. He's not. People play these games with God and think he's just gonna look the other way each and every time, but eventually those bills come due, and you realize your life is a vapor, but then it's too late. So, yeah, let me hopefully people can see good, but back to the dealer. They gave him, he had the key to the city, but they knew what he was doing. They was there at the parties. NYPD was there doing security. And so the stories I've heard, I mean, from eyewitnesses, like the pride in this man, in the Bible, we know pride comes before a fall. But the pride in this man, he was hosting a party with Kobe Bryant, and he got offended because they was checking everybody for guns. And he told security, don't check me. Kobe went and allowed him to get frisked, but he said, don't frisk me. And he got mad because security was trying to check, say if he's like, no, don't frisk me. Out of all them celebrities at that party, they all got frisked, and he the only one saying, you can't frisk me, don't frisk me. And so that's the type of pride that he was sitting on. And so, and let me remind y'all, just let you know, the prophecy is that either he's going to commit suicide or he's going to be suicided. He's going to be unalive one way or the other. He's not going to make it through and do 10 years or anything like that. That's just not going to happen. He's not going to make it through. So, his days is severely numbered. And so back to this indictment, the mayor, Eric Adams, expects to face criminal charges. He's done. You got to understand, when the feds get you, they got a 98% conviction rate. They only present a case when they got you. They wait till they got all the evidence on you. Then when they got all the evidence on you, then they get you. So the fact that he's got nabbed, that means they got everything on him. He's done. And so, I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't hard to find. Like, he's already, Chinese billionaire was giving the mayor money, and the billionaire was funneling money for the Chinese Communist Party. So if you don't know, they got Chinese police. They got caught having a Chinese police station, communist Chinese police station in New York, trying to act like they're the official police in New York for Chinatown. So they got caught there. So the mayor got caught accepting basically foreign donations from other countries, which is a no-no. Because then you're in debt to foreign countries, which goes against the US interests. So, and this is him with the guy on the left, Kate Hudson. He was involved in sex trafficking, and the lady leaning on him, that's Naomi Campbell, who's she's a madam. She recruits models to do yachting for old rich men. So she funnels the models to them. The models go because they get a big payday to sleep around with these rich men on yachts. That's what yachting is, if you didn't know. And so she makes a fortune off of this, but she hasn't faced justice yet. We'll see how long she makes it. But at this point, it's kind of well known by a lot of circles that, yeah, she recruits models and prostitutes them out. There's a story of her. One of the women didn't want to do it anymore, and she grabbed a whole old school telephone and busted her upside the head because she wanted to quit, and said, "You can't quit." That's how vicious and ruthless she is. There's even a report where she got mad. She said these women are dumb for having babies because the babies ruin their bodies. So that's the type of mindset she has. She's vicious. And to see her hugged up with the mayor, it tells you all you need to know. And so they're going to keep lying to the end. That's what you got to understand. Like, all the evidence in the world could be on them, but they're going to continue to lie. It's not going to change anything for them, but it just astounds me how much lying is taking place. Like, so the diddler's lawyer basically said, trying to explain the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, was trying to say actually they bought the 1,000 bottles of baby oil from Costco. Costco got upset and said, first thing, Costco doesn't even sell baby oil. Don't try to put us in this. So it's like the lying is nonstop. Like, you guys are toast. Like, give it up. You can't get your story straight. You gonna say you bought all those 1,000 bottles? He said Diddy likes to buy in bulk. He likes to buy in bulk. But it's funny because people have like a whole bottle of baby oil and had that for like 5 years. So how much baby oil you got to go through? You need 1,000 bottles. Talking about he need to buy in bulk. But Costco, like, look, we don't even sell baby oil. Don't put us in this. So we got that. Okay, and this last piece of the rabbit hole. I mean, God may reveal more, but this last piece, because I said we're going to go a little deeper. Oh, yeah, Cat Williams said it was up for everyone. Yep, that's right, Tia. It's, the prophetic can move through anybody. Like, we've seen a donkey prophesy in the Bible, so he can use comedians. He can use anybody. He can use anybody. So I believe truly that God used Cat Williams to put the public on notice, because it was like the highest viewed podcast on YouTube in the history of YouTube, because God was getting the word out, because people don't go to church. So they'll watch YouTube though. So he
You know,
got the
Pastor
word out.
Raheem. You know what, Pastor
Huh?
Raheem, with
Go
Cat
ahead.
Williams, no lie. I ain't gonna lie, have a I was trying to share it to you, and I tried to go back to it and I lost the video. I'm gonna go and try to find it. Where Cat Williams, somebody was trying to question. I don't know if the last name is Brown. He seemed like, I don't know if I don't think he's a pastor, but this dude literally was like, oh, you sure you want to put yourself out there? And he literally tried to like press Cat Williams, because he didn't been through a lot with other people, because Cat Williams, he blunt, you know. So Cat Williams was like, what are you saying? The devil didn't create the earth. It was like he let him know, like, look, I am not supposed to be fearing nobody but God, because the devil did not create all this. And I was like, what? Oh, Jesus, y'all gotta be rolling. This baby oil ain't no joke. People clowning all around about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. 'Cause that's what God, when he exposed people and he'll give all, you gotta think like all the stuff Diddy did to people, he would clown people. Like he'd have people who were talented and had them walk through the whole city for some cheesecake and stuff like that. Now it's coming out that the cheesecake was for Beyonce because Beyonce was there. So you had all these different things. He would embarrass people publicly, and he got off on that. He got joy from that. And so God just say, now, you know what? I'm gonna make fun of you now. I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna make you a meme. I'm gonna put you in there. I'm gonna have people making jokes about you and laughing about you. And so God, like, can't nobody get you like God can. Can't nobody get you like God can. And then on top of that, he cheated so many people. And so God set it up to where the alcohol company cheated him. So you when you take a look at the big picture, you start to see how God moved. You saw how he like when the Bible says you reap what you sow, like you see it play out in real time if you pay attention to what's going on. So all them people you cheated out of their royalties and people who dedicated themselves to make good music or to help you out, basically. Because you the one that asked them, they was doing what you were telling them to do. And so you cheated all these people, and guess what? Now you get cheated. And you didn't like that. You wanted to take them to court. And then it's all a setup. Like, and then looking back, even with Mace, like he was in that, and then he gave his life to Christ, became a pastor, and now he's doing better than he is. And so it shows you, like, if you give your life to Christ, how much life can be better for you. That the people in the world, they may clown you and try to make jokes about that, and oh, you scared, go to church, not understanding that, the same people you was laughing at on your way up will be same people laughing at you on your way down. You got to see them same people on the way down, because pride always come before a fall. So God impress upon all of us, no matter what happens in your life, no matter what success or anything, always stay humble. Stay humble, and he will exalt you. That's what the words say. And so the diddler getting clowned, he's a meme because he did it to other people publicly, and now publicly he's getting shamed. So I'm almost done. I was, like I said, I wanted to give y'all this last rabbit hole because this is deep. So this last rabbit hole is that basically when it's coming out now that Diddy's residences was connected to sex trafficking. And so it's coming out in the court information and everything. And that's what he's indicted for as well. And so you got to understand that the mansion he had in Beverly Hills had tunnels underneath the mansion connected to Hugh Hefner's house. And so we already know what happened at Hugh Hefner, Playboy, and all that. Cosby would go to Hugh Hefner's house, and the people accusing him of rape were the ones in that Playboy mansion. So I'm just connecting the dots for you. So it wasn't by accident that he chose to live in that particular place that had tunnels connected to the Hugh Hefner mansion. And what I'm about to show y'all, in addition, is that his house in Miami is basically so close to what are those shipping containers, where Miami's a huge trading port where a lot of shipments come in. That's why there's a lot of cocaine there, because they put in those containers. They sneak it on there through the containers. And so we also know with sex trafficking that they put those kids in those containers and ship them. Some die because they don't even have air. They're vicious. Some starve to death in those containers. It's bad. The cartel are using kids like that, doing sex trafficking, giving the grown men, and giving them, leasing them, renting kids out to help them cross the border. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's a real problem. It's just, the stuff is just, they're renting kids out. And once they cross the border with that kid, then they rent them out to other people. They go back over the border and then rent them out to other people trying to cross. So it's rent a kid. It's bad. They drug the kid up too. It's bad. So this is the Diddy's house thing. And you see how close it is to those shipping containers where they're doing the sex trafficking.
So, what have we here?
Yeah. Tia said, yeah, freight containers. Yeah, so you see how close Diddy's house is right there, and it's a stone's throw away from those shipping containers, those freight containers, and it's right there for sex trafficking. And so the other part I didn't tell you guys is that, because this is going to lead to more arrests if you didn't know, but I mean, it's in the prophecy. More dominoes are going to fall. This is just the beginning. So God is cleaning things up, but he's causing this. Normally these people don't do this stuff. Normally they don't go against each other like this, but he's causing this to happen because he is a God of justice, if you didn't know. And so justice will be served one way or the other. So understand this, is that I don't know what's going to happen to his sons, but it's already in the paperwork. His sons basically would recruit minors to come to the parties. So he would send his sons out to get minors to come to the mansion. And they was doing this in Beverly Hills, and they were doing this in Miami, and I believe they were also doing this in New York. And the web is deep. They will recruit these minors to come to the party and then have the minors sleep with the celebrities or the politicians or whoever, and then videotaping them sleeping with the minors and then blackmailing with them to make more money. So that's the scheme in a nutshell. It's how this intricate web that's taking place that has ensnared so many people caught up in lust, destroying them ultimately because they couldn't control their lust. They couldn't get that demon out of them. And this happens on a large scale. It's not just Diddy that's doing this. This is a big phenomenon. Like, if I tell you all the stories I know, it's a lot. We'd be here for all day. But there's literally, like, there's hotels and motels. There's, like, for those in LA, y'all know, like, Koreatown. Nicolas Cage, for instance, has a motel that he owns, and he has secret cameras in there that videotapes people sleeping with minors, and then that's used as blackmail. He's blackmailed people in Hollywood. That's why he continues to keep getting movies and roles and stuff, even though it's like, how did he get all that? Like, that's one of the reasons. He's blackmailed individuals from that motel. So these are things that's been happening that people are just now finding out. So there's hidden cameras in a lot of hotels and motels that people don't even know. That's why it always comes back to what I've been teaching y'all. Before you go anywhere, before you make a purchase, consult the Ruach HaKodesh, consult the Holy Spirit. Because you don't know what goes on in these places. You don't know what goes on to these places that you're visiting. You don't know what goes on in the food. You have no idea. The Holy Spirit will steer you correctly. Amen. All right, so this last thing, and I'm done. This is just this to let you know what's going on. They're going to because I got multiple sources about this, is that the government, FEMA and all that, they're preparing for this a lot of unrest. Part of it is because I don't think anybody here knows, but the dock workers at the ports are about to go on strike. We're not talking about just the port of Long Beach. We're talking about the East Coast. We're talking about Miami. We're talking about Texas. And we're talking about the West Coast. And we're talking about international strike. So what does that mean? That means this, is that, you remember during the pandemic when people were fighting over toilet tissue because there was a shortage? You remember the gouging that people did? So prepare yourself for round two. Because when the ports are backed up, when things can't come into the country, things can't leave, then that means supplies run low. That means when you go to the grocery store, the things that you thought were always would be there won't be there because they're out of stock. Because they can't get restocked because the new stuff hasn't came in, or the new stuff is stuck at the port. So y'all are getting the grade A heads up before the rest of the public that the stuff that you need to get that's important to you, you need to get it. Because when the strike happens, this has all been prophesied, so it's not nothing new from the spiritual side of things, but the physical side is starting to play out what's already been prophesied. That it's going to be gangland, it's going to be civil unrest, it's going to be people fighting in the streets. So these things are coming. It's the purge. I told y'all about this purge that they put in the movies because the fallen angels are involved. They got to let you know ahead of time. They know what's coming. But does the church know what's coming? I don't know. I know this ministry does. So here we go. The last video.
It's already looking like the ports are definitely going on strike. And to her point, it's not just from Texas through Florida up to the West Coast, up to the East Coast. There's ports internationally that are also involved, and we're also hearing that it might even spread all through the West Coast and up their side, as well as contract negotiations are nowhere near what is being asked for. A lot of these people who are longshoremen who work at the ports are stating we're going on strike for sure. We're also, this is affecting 45,000 people. And there's a lot of people in the comments saying, yeah, but we just went through this with COVID when they closed the ports down. We didn't have the inflation during that time that we have now. Imagine shortages and on top of that, inflation.
Hey man, so y'all